how you managed to say the only thing that could possibly save you.
It's a gift.
I'm going to start with a bit of a therapeutic question because there's family drama in the Norris family, as always. Michelle, for you, why do Ainsley and Cooper always butt heads? And then Ali, coming to you after that, how does Angela feel about her kids having such a family feud?
I think there has to be something more than just typical sibling rivalry. I think that we don't know that something happened yet, but I do think that they're so different from one another, and Cooper, everything that he is, Ainsley is the opposite. They are each other's mirrors. And so I think there's also some jealousy in there. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but every single time Cooper gets any attention, Ainsley has a problem with it. So I'm really hoping we get a little bit more information as to why they hate each other so much.
I definitely think there's something in the past. And if it was something that I had to guess right now, I would assume it's also the amount of attention that I've placed on our daughter, and that can, as a parent of two children, when you kind of put a little bit more energy to one, that can cause a rift. And then I would say like how I watch them together, which I've also kind of taken from my own life. You can't give energy when your kids are fighting. You can't feed into it. You just kind of have to let it play off and like, it's no big deal until something really bad happens and you got to cut it, So I feel like that's where I see Angela just with the, oh, they're so cute, just her little babies. No white truffles for you.
Yeah.
Also, like Ainsley lives in like a little bit of a bubble that her mom has created.
Yeah.
And so every time Cooper is like, he lives in real life and she's like, I don't know why you are just so grumpy all the time. You don't get it. Life's easy. Why are you such a downer? And so I think there's just that disconnect between them. Who knows if Ainsley will break out of that.
Yeah, that's the sibling dynamic. Let's talk about the parental dynamic.
Sure.
Angela and Tommy, as a partnership here, they're separated, but they're trying to mend fences. Why do you think they work as a couple?
I think they have an incredible shared history together. And when you go through something like the bust and the boom within the oil business, especially in West Texas, where the stakes are so high and danger is imminent around every corner, they've been through the pain of that. And I think that they were actually really like true loves to each other. And then when that happened, Angela had to take care of her children when he had become a drunk and there was no way for her to support her family. So as things, years pass by, I think that it softens you a little bit and it makes you really, not as much softens you, but it makes you realize what you want with your life. And when I think about Angela leaving behind a life of luxury and money and, all these, all the luxuries in life to go back to this man and to heal her family, it's really beautiful. And that they're kind of like, I said this, they're like two wrongs that make a right, like there's just an understanding of the way that they can be a little crass and a little kind of caustic with each other, but there is an undeniable love and chemistry that kind of transcends it all.
Amazing. Michelle, to wrap with you quickly, it's a big year on the horizon for you and Paramount as a partnership. Scream 7's coming out next year. I know we can't say much, but how did it feel to join that franchise at this stage and where it's at? And how do the scares compare?
I feel so lucky. Kevin Williamson, who created Scream, the franchise, directed Scream 7, so I got to work directly with him. And he brought so many elements from the original Scream back into this one, and so it was extra special. Filming was nothing like Landman. I didn't lose my voice, thankfully, but there's a lot of screaming. Your
two characters' relationship really blossomed in season 1. Going into season 2, where are we at?
Where are we? I mean, we're learning the ropes. Relationships are hard. There's a lot of conversations that need to be had. And like every relationship, it has its ups and downs, but their connection is very strong. So me as a viewer, I'm rooting for them.
Jacob, how about you?
Yeah, it's a continuation. So we're just working through it and still figuring everything out. It's still new and it'll continue to, throw its roadblocks in the way and we're figuring out other pieces of life and aspect of life at the same time. So it's a lot for the characters to build on or to understand.
Yeah, there's a great scene you have in season 1, that being Ariana meeting Ainsley at the hospital and that acclamation to the Norris family. What do you think a scene like that means for Ariana's relationship going forward with Cooper and just kind of her acclamation to the Norris family as a whole?
I feel like we were just reaching the surface from those interactions. Like, I feel like this next season, I don't know. Maybe we'll see more of all of them together. Maybe they get to actually formally meet. But I think it's very interesting, the dynamics of every character. Ariana is obviously very different from the Norris family and their norm. And but I think the connection that they do have is that they're both family people.
Very much so. Jacob, for your arc in season 2, he's trying to strike it rich a little bit. Cooper's trying to carve his own path. What does that mean for his personal arc, and how fun is that for you to get to play with an arc like that on your own?
It's so much fun. I mean, I just try to put it and relate it to, growing myself in this career that we're doing, and he's trying to blossom in that career. And it's there's such a relatable thing there. It doesn't matter what business you're in, to want to succeed at something, you give all you can. And a lot of times you might step into something a little quicker than you should because you're, anticipating, and then you go, okay, don't do that again because it leads to these problems. So it's really him growing up this season and learning what it's going to take to get what he's wanting out of his dream.
I'll wrap with this. The Norris family, a lot of tension within it, and we're bringing in Grandpa this season, Sam Elliott, coming into the fold. What can you tease about what Cooper's relationship is like with Grandpa?
Well, it all starts very new. I don't think they've spent a whole lot of time around each other up until this, so it really is getting to learn the characters, and the audience is getting to learn as the characters are. So it's it's a ride along thing. Like it's going to be great, and I hope everyone really enjoys it. And to be able to work with Sam is absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible.
You guys are the lawyers in the series, and in season 2, you got some big things to deal with. We as the audience had the luxury of knowing what Monty was up to in season 1, but going into season 2, now some of the characters on screen are privy to the illegal happenings that were going on with MTEX.
When you say illegal, you mean bending the rules?
Lawyers speak, there we go. How are you guys dealing with this in season 2? What can you tease for fans? Kayla, we can start with you.
We're trying to figure out all of these missing pieces to this puzzle, and it's like the only guy that can answer them is no longer here. So it's kind of like you're in an escape room, and maybe we'll try this. Oh no, that information is not there. Let's look here. So it's very challenging for this company, and especially to get in the guy's mind who didn't play by the rules, because anything's on the table. So you'll see a lot of obstacles this season. We've seen a couple in the first 2 episodes, and you'll see many more coming our way.
As the reveals,
do not have it easy this season.
As the reveals come and we try to piece together what's going on, we're doing it in a very, strategic but legal way, and we're also, peeling back the layers and saying, okay, now this is this, it leads to that, it leads to that. Inevitably, we are frustrated in this journey of discovery, and probably somebody has to resort to violence. And that, takes things up a notch in order to open more doors and get us on the right track. But yeah, we are chasing our tails until suddenly the pieces fall into place. And I think the audience will find it very compelling, particularly when I questioned your use of the word illegal. One of Monty's best tricks was playing within the rules, but being really, really willing to risk total collapse. As Tommy says of him way back in season 1, I think to Boss and one of the other guys there, that the reason he's a billionaire is because he put it all on black and won, right? It's not because he's a genius about investing this here and doing that there and oil there. No. And hitting. And so it didn't tell us that that's what he was doing, which is the problem, because we do the day-to-day work. And when Rebecca, as a litigator, comes in to do the protect the company work, that's when we need the answers to this stuff. On the day-to-day, I'm in a need-to-know basis. I will just get this contract, you sign it, we do it. That's that.
That day-to-day largely takes place in the Norris family home. As someone who worked from home for 2.5 years, I can't stand it. I need an office. I need that separation of work from home. Are you guys going to get an office
But
this
when
season?
you say Norris family home, that's a misnomer. It's the MTEX rental house. So the only people who belong in that house are Billy Bob, me, and James Jordan. We're the only people who belong in that house. Everybody else is visiting. They're either a guest, or their family, or their sort of family, formerly married, now divorced. All of this complexity. And when this one visits and justifiably says, this is no way to run an operation? What is this? We don't have an answer for that. And every time I ask Billy Bob, Tommy, can you please make a decision, get these people a home, get us, it all gets more complicated. I think that's part of the point.
Kayla, anything to add?
I mean, from Rebecca's point of view, we've got Ainsley doing cheer routines, and she's wearing,
Nothing.
outfit that's next to nothing, because she's a cheerleader, and she's practicing her routine. But that's no place to have an office. And I think Rebecca's goal at the end of the day is always get the job done. So she's gonna go there and do the meeting. Doesn't mean she won't be pissed off about it, but it's totally not professional, and she knows that. And if she could have her own office, yes, she would.
But the beauty of the situation is that because they're under duress always, and the stress of this distraction-filled household, we are allowed to reveal more of the characters' coping mechanisms, and therefore more about who they actually are and how they cope well, or in some cases, not well at all.
Yeah.
And I think that's fun. I think it's a very discreet method of storytelling. So before you know it, you go, oh, I know that guy.
I'm excited to see where I'm excited for people to see where our character's story goes.
Yeah.
Mark, to start with you, you co-produced some songs for the original Landman soundtrack alongside Billy Bob Thornton.
We did. We wrote a couple of tunes, yeah.
Amazing. Can you talk to me about that experience? Where did the passion for music begin? How did you know that you wanted to make music for this show?
Well, I started making music when I was like 12 years old. And I started writing. Songwriting is how I got into the entertainment business. But in my late teens, I started writing songs for country singers, in Nashville, and that led me to record making. And Billy Bob, funny stories like, I used to record in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, initially, And 10 or 15 years later, I found out that Billy Bob was down there making a record too. He came over there from Arkansas, So he was in a rock band, I was in a country band. We never knew each other, we walked the same paths. Ultimately, songwriting came natural to me and to him, and we were sitting there reading the script, and we started a song called Midland After Midnight, and now Flatland Cavalry cut it, and now it's on this. And Taylor loved the song, and Taylor's a songwriter too, and I could talk about songwriting forever. I'm gonna stop. But it was a blast, and it's something Billy and I did kind of natural.
Yeah, an original soundtrack adds so much color to a show, to a movie, so it's really cool to always have that. Andy Garcia has a more pronounced role here in season 2, and Boss is someone who I feel like those run-ins are going to be pretty pronounced as well going into season 2. What can you tease about how Andy Garcia's role in this series is going to impact Boss going forward?
Well, Andy Garcia, just him and his brand, he brings something so dynamic to any project that he's in. And what he's going to do this season is just increase the stakes of everything that Tommy touches. How that's gonna affect Boss, you'll see, because there's always a trickle-down effect, particularly how Boss and Tommy have their relationship. So what you'll see is just more intensity from everybody.
What I love about Taylor Sheridan shows too is it feels like every new season the stakes get raised. It feels like the scope increases. We learned not too long ago Taylor Sheridan is leaving Paramount, going over to NBC Universal. That being said, for the future of Landman, do you think those increased stakes will continue to rise even if he's not involved in the project? Speaking to how it's going to change without Taylor, I can't, but I just know with Taylor, there's always going to be a level of excitement, always going to be a level of unpredictability and intensity that the fans always know and love. Anything to add?
I think it's just going to keep on rocking, man. Taylor's telling this story up to here. I think he'll be involved at some level, and whatever level that is, it's going to take this show to the next level.
Should we start with the big one? Should we start with the elephant in the room?
All right, let's do it.
Taylor Sheridan, he's moved on from Paramount. He worked with you on the season, if I'm not mistaken, so we do have a batch of episodes with you two still together. What does his exit mean for the future of Landman?
Well, that's way beyond my pay grade, first of all. But in the day-to-day and the reality of right now, we still have a lot of runway. That contract is not ending anytime soon. And so we're just gonna keep doing exactly what we've been doing. Nothing at all has changed. So that's for a future person to worry about.
Amazing. We had a lot to look forward to this season. You left on a pretty big cliffhanger. John Hamm's Monty being killed off. That void of his character in the Landman world, how is that being filled in season 2?
Well, when you take one player off the chessboard, you know, that opens up opportunities for another. And so we get to see Cammy, his wife, played by Demi, just step into that role. And now she's swimming with the sharks and has to figure it all out. And so that is one of the fun things about this season, is watching her come into her own.
Mm-hmm. And having a natural death too, like that. Like he wasn't killed in some gravitas way. It was very just like how people die. What was that decision like?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're hewing to reality in a lot of instances, in a lot of ways in this show. And it makes sense that like he had a really high stress job that is not great for the old ticker, you know? And so that's life. There's a lot of just life in this show. And yeah, it leaves a hole though, for sure.
And you're bringing in big players this season. Sam Elliott joining the fray as Billy Bob's father. Getting a talent the caliber of Sam Elliott, what did that mean to Landman? And beyond that, how does that, having him in the series, impact the Norris family power dynamic?
Well, first of all, having Sam Elliott in your show is, you know, like something beyond your wildest dreams. Like you're like, oh, Sam Elliott's in our show? I'm crazy. But no, he brings not only something as an actor, but as a person to the set. And then his character, it's allowing us to see 3 generations of Norris men, right? And we get to see Tommy in this different light. We get to see more about his background and the relationship that shaped him as a man and as a businessman. And it opens up some comedic opportunities, but it also opens up a lot of really beautiful moments of heartfelt family moments, which I think at the end of the day are kind of the bedrock of the show.
I'll wrap with this quickly. You did say at the beginning that future problems are future problems. That being said, do you have an idea of where Landman is going deep into the future? Do you have an end game already in mind? What does that creative board look like?
The thing about this show is there are so many ways that this can go. And the world is so vast and big. It's full of stories. And so far, we're 2 seasons in and we've barely skimmed the surface of what we can do and what we want to do. So I just think that there's a lot of runway left. And as long as there's a story to tell and people are there for it, I hope we get to keep telling it.